I've come to the conclusion, guys, that it can get a lot worse first. That he is here for the foreseeable. I genuinely don't think that he will be. Honestly, think he will be sacked. I honestly think he'll still be here no matter what happens on Sunday. I think there is a genuine, just lack of understanding within the ownership of this club and within the football board of this club, within Patrick Stewart, Kevin Thelwell's son, Kevin Thelwell's nan, Kevin Thelwell's mum, Kevin Thelwell's dad, Kevin Thelwell's uncle, Kevin Thelwell's cousin, Kevin Thelwell's dogs, cousins, aunties, brothers, sisters, budgerigar, that he won't be sacked. Once again, last night, we are in Europa League action, and you can argue that Sturm Graz away is a tough game. You can argue that, and in the past we haven't done well there. But, I'm going to go back to last season for a minute. I'm going to go back to the Europa League campaign under Philippe Clement. Now, look, Philippe Clement was not a good manager. He let us down very badly. Last season, he didn't do a good job at all. But the one thing you can say about Philippe Clement is in Europe, he did do a very fine job. In Europe, he, for me, kept us competitive. There are a number of games we've played where we were in the game until the very end of said game. If you go back to the Europa League campaign last season and you go back to, some of those group games, back to, away in Piraeus, 1-1 against Olympiacos, who are a better side than Sturm Graz, with a Rangers team that everyone said last season was awful, everyone said last season was poor. 4-0 at home against FCSB. Yes, we lost 4-1 to Lyon, but Lyon were a very, very good side, a very, very good team. You keep going on through those results. 4-1 away in Nice are no mugs. You keep going through that one. A 1-1 draw with eventual winners Tottenham. We only just lost at Old Trafford to Manchester United, 2-1 in the Europa League. And then obviously on the last day of the season, we beat now Champions League side Union Saint-Gilloise 2-1. And we progressed to the knockout phases. Now, no matter how bad things were in the league, even under Clement, there was an understanding of how to play in Europe. There was an understanding of what was needed to progress in Europe. And I would argue, actually, that last season's team was essentially set up to play in Europe. It was never set up to play domestically. This team isn't set up to play domestically or in Europe. I mean, the suicidally high line, the sterile slow passing, it just repeats and repeats and repeats. Now, you know what? You're going to hear the Happy Clap Loyal today coming out and going, well, you know what? It was better in the second half. There was improvement in the second half. He should be given time because of the second half. Happy clappy, happy clappy, happy clappy. I mean, those people make me fucking sick. They make me fucking sick. And I'm going to say this now. If you go to the next home game, if you attend the next home game, if you go to Rangers to watch them play at Ibrox in the next home game, you are part of the issue. You are part of the problem at this football club. And you are not going to get Russell Martin out. You are going to help him stay in his job. And you are the ones that are keeping this man in this job. Until you start staying away in vast numbers, he will stay in his job. That's the only way this lot are going to listen. The one thing the Americans don't like is when they start losing money. Americans hate losing money. That's when you start hitting them in the pocket. That's when it's going to hurt. That's when they're going to take action. And if you go to the next home game, you are a sad, happy clapper. You are an acceptor of mediocrity, and you are a big part of what is wrong at this football club. Please, if that's you, go support Partick Thistle. Go support Queen's Park. Go support Livingston or St Johnstone. Just please stay away from Rangers because you're part of the problem. Now, last night, that first half was dire. Absolutely diabolical. The defending was, somebody called it schoolboy defending this morning, and I'll be honest with you, I think that's an insult to schoolboys. I genuinely do. I think it's an insult. Having coached youth teams in the past, the defending was better. Honestly, better than what I saw last night. he'll point to the stats. He'll point to the fact that we've obviously been better. We've had 59% possession to their 41 possession. We had more shots on target in the second half. They mostly came, and we'll touch on the second half in a minute and what happened in the second half and why Russell Martin deserves no credit whatsoever for that second half. But again, it's another defeat in Europe. A game that, like I said last year, we probably go away and we get at least a point from, or we get a win possibly from. Clermont, I don't think loses as that game last season. And I'm not saying for a minute bring back Philippe Clermont, or I'm not saying for a minute that Philippe Clermont is the answer. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is at least he knew how to set a team up in Europe. At least he left you with that possibility of genuinely knowing that you could do something in Europe. Now, for me, that lineup last night was wrong from minute one. That lineup, again, he gets the starting lineup wrong. And it's only when he chucks, all sort of he chucks all caution to the wind and starts going through the process of let's chuck as much shit at the wall as we can and hope that some sticks, that it actually works. You look at the bench last night, and Finlay Curtis, Lyle Cameron, both on the bench. Has Finlay Curtis shit in Russell Martin's kettle? Or has he been caught in bed with Lucy Pinder? What has happened to Finlay Curtis? A lad who, when he plays, gives 150%. A lad who scores goals. A lad who shows more heart, more desire than the 11 that started tonight put together. Yet the lad can't get on the pitch. He cannot get on the pitch. And once again, who does he bring on? Mikey fucking Moore. Mikey Moore, the boy wonder from down south. I'm not being funny, but Mikey Moore looks like a contestant on Pop Idol. He looks like someone who, you'd see as a bit of a roadman on the corner. That lad is not a footballer. He is not a footballer. He is absolute, pure, unadulterated shite. He brings on Rothwell, for fuck's sake. I mean, yes, Miovski, fair enough. Danilo, yes, that's when it's, the last 7 minutes, let's just chuck all this shit at the wall and hope some sticks. Lyle Cameron, been one of the best players this pitch. Yes, I know he's just come back from injury. Why? And you know what? I'll come out, he's not 100% fit. Well, if he's not 100% fit, what the fuck is he on the bench for? I don't get it. You look at that team last night. Chimiti, honestly, there needs to be an investigation by the Serious Fraud Office into that transfer. The Glasgow Police Serious Fraud Office need to investigate that transfer. 8.5 million for a player who, I'm not being funny, wouldn't get in my daughter's college football team. 8.5 million for a footballer who, I'll be honest with you, looks about as good as a one-legged, asthmatic, dead donkey. I mean, genuinely, the lad is fucking shite. 8.5 million for him. He is just a joke. I mean, I called him Umar Sadiq 2.0. That's an insult to Umar Sadiq. It's an insult to even liken him to Oleg Salenko. The lad is absolute dog shit. Gassama was great last night. Look, all credit to Gassama. I thought Gassama worked really hard. He was the one shining light last night. He was the one player that actually looked like he could do something. Thelo Asgard is another one. I mean, the man that makes John Lundstrom look like Cristiano Ronaldo. He makes John Lundstrom look like Jude Bellingham. I mean, honestly, Thelo Asgard, he makes me look like fucking Mo Salah of last season. I mean, genuinely, I don't know what he does. He stands on the pitch and tries to look pretty with his pretty hair. That's about it. The lad is just a joke. He is a joke. I mean, he's not a footballer. I don't know what he is. Again, he looks like the fifth member of Take That. I don't know what he is, genuinely. Ant-Man, Prattman, more like. Barron worked hard, tried. Raskin tried last night. Tav was shit last night yet again. Appalling. John Suter was an embarrassment again last night. Cornelius was okay. Magoma was genuinely dreadful. I mean, the lad, he was genuinely shockingly bad. So bad last night. So bad. But the issue you've got there is you can't drop him. Why can't you drop him? Because there's no other left backs at the club. Because Kevin Thelwell, in his infinite wisdom, decided not to bother signing another left back and to get rid of all of our left backs and leave us with one lone player who will leave at the end of the season anyway. So at the end of the season, we'll have no left backs at the club. Yay, Kevin! You're a hero. I'm sure your nan can sort that out, and I'm sure that your Auntie's guide dog can go and find us another left back at some point from somewhere, definitely. It was just pure unadulterated shit from whatever. I mean, this man, to me, is the only man who deserves any credit from last night. He kept the score down in the first half. He pulled off some great saves. Again, it could have been 4-5 by half-time if it hadn't been for Jack Butland. Jack Butland was absolutely brilliant last night. Absolutely brilliant last night. Yet again, superstar. The guy is the one man in this team who is keeping this under control, who is keeping this from getting embarrassing every single game. And Russell Martin should thank Jack Butland for I don't know, making him look like just like a twat rather than a complete and utter twat. I think Butland was great. All credit Jack last night for that performance. Now, people have pointed to the second half, but you look at the second half and it was Rangers gave up trying to do what Martin clearly wants them to do, which is to play the passive, slow, sterile, pass football, and just went for it. There was no tactics as such. It was just fucking attack. And it seems interesting, doesn't it? The moment you take Martin out of the equation, and Russell Martin deserves zero credit for this. That second half performance is not on Russell Martin, it's on the players. If you take Russell Martin out of the equation and don't play how Russell Martin wants you to play, then we start looking good. Now, is this actual? Do you know what? Sack him, put someone in charge who is going to play to the players' strengths of just attack and attack and attack, and we might actually look quite a half-decent team. Russell Martin's the problem. And the happy clap loyal will sit here this morning and tell you that it's not, that it's getting better, that it's progressing, that second half shows. They're just fucking mentally. They need to go and seek help at a mental health clinic this afternoon or this morning or whenever they can go and get some help. They need help. The happy clap loyal are just absolute puerile morons. They really are. They are the worst species of fan on earth. For me, that second half is not on mine. It's on the players going forward and just going attack. Let's fucking go for it because we've got nothing left to lose now. We're going to get beat probably, so let's just go for it. And like I said, that is not acceptable. It is unacceptable. And there was a stat yesterday that came out. In 23 away games, we have not kept a clean sheet now. 23 away games. 23. This season, we have won 5 out of our 16 competitive games. 5. Now, it is now October the 3rd. Tell me any other Rangers team or any other Rangers manager where 5 out of 16 would be acceptable. This is Rangers. If you're at St Mirren or Motherwell or, no disrespect to St Mirren or Motherwell, or you were at St Johnstone, or you were at Livy, or you were at, I don't know, even in the English Premier League, if you were at, I don't know, West Ham, Wolves, you'd probably get away with that to this point because, that's fine. You'd probably have enough points and enough progress to kind of survive. But this manager at Rangers, it's not acceptable. It just is not. This is Rangers. It's not fucking Partick Thistle. It's not Queen's Park. This is Rangers. It's not. It's a club that demands success. We have standards. The win percentage for Russell Martin this season is 31%. Under a third. Let that hit home for a minute. 31%. The defending is getting worse. The defensive line is all over the place. And it's not on. Yes, it's partly on the players. Yes, John Sutter was shit last night. Yes, Tav was shit last night. Yes, Magoma was shit last night. But it's also on how they've been asked to play, on how they've been organised by the coach. A coach can make even average players look good. A coach can make even poor players look average if they're organised in the right way. And Russell Martin cannot organise a defence to save his life. He genuinely can't. He couldn't organise a piss-up in a fucking brewery, this man. He genuinely couldn't. And, we look at the Europa League table as it stands this morning. Rangers are 32nd, lost 2 out of 2. And yes, there's some big names down there. Salzburg, Feyenoord, Nice, Bologna, Celtic. Nottingham Forest, but it's not acceptable. I mean, this is not what we do in Europa League, is it? In Europe, it just doesn't happen, and he's got to go. He's got to go. Andrew Kavanagh, Parag Marathe. If you can't see that this man is destroying this club and dragging it through the mire, then you're not fit to run the club. You're worse than the Parks, and they were bad. I mean, they were genuinely bad. They were a cancer in this club, those two absolute morons. But, you know, at the end of the day, this is just so bad. It is so bad. And every single hour I refresh Twitter, hoping that, you know, we can kind of see some sort of announcement from the club, and it doesn't happen. And look, I'm not being funny, but we're not moving in the right direction. We're becoming Everton Mark II. You know, you look at the appointments. Kevin Thelwell, failed Everton sporting director. Dan Purdy, failed Everton head of recruitment. Yusuf Chimiti, failed striker who is allergic to scoring goals. Robbie Thelwell, a man who was recruited because he's Kevin Thelwell's son, failed at Norwich. Russell Martin, failed wherever he's been. Mike Williamson, first team coach at fucking Gateshead. Gateshead. Is that where we've sunk to now? You know what? And somehow some people seem to think that this is acceptable, that this is, you know, okay for Rangers. It's not. It's disgusting. It's disgraceful. This team is one of the worst I have ever seen, Rangers. And like I said, I've been supporting this club for nearly 40 years now. You know, even through the 2012 disaster and all that, that team was better. The team that Ali McCoy brought back up from the lower leagues was better than this team. And I'd tell you what, I'd take Ian Black. I'd take any of those players back. I'd take Martin Waghorn. You know, any of them would play better than this bunch of absolute useless twats. I'd take Mark Warburton back as a manager. Even he's better than Russell Martin. I'm not being funny, but I'd take Pedro back. I'd take Paul Le Guen back. Both better than Russell Martin. I mean, when you're talking about him being worse than Pedro, worse than Paul Le Guen, it's coming to something, isn't it, guys? It's coming to something. He's got to go. He's got to go. Right, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm done. I'm seriously done with this team. Thanks for watching. See you later.